Cleopatra ruled the richest nation on earth. Egypt's grain fed the entire Roman Empire. Her navy controlled the Mediterranean. Her treasury held more gold than any kingdom in history. 10 days from now, all of it belongs to Rome, and she knows exactly what they'll do to her first. They'll chain her, parade her through Roman streets like an animal, let the crowds spit on the woman who made Julius Caesar kneel, who turned Mark Antony against his own people, who dared to claim she could rule as Rome's equal. Then, when the spectacle ends, they'll strangle her in a prison cell. This is how Rome treats defeated queens. Cleopatra has seen it happen before. She knows the protocol, the timeline, the ritual humiliation that precedes the execution. She has 10 days to make sure it never happens. This is August 30 BC, the final chapter of the most powerful dynasty in human history. 3,000 years of Egyptian civilization, about to end in a palace chamber in Alexandria. But Cleopatra VII Philopator, last pharaoh of Egypt, refuses to let Rome write the ending to her story. Let me show you what really happened in those final days. The woman sitting in the royal quarters looks nothing like the myths suggest. No golden headdresses, no elaborate eye makeup. Cleopatra is 39 years old, and her face shows every one of the 21 years she's spent ruling Egypt. She wears a simple Greek chiton. Her hair, once adorned with pearls and precious stones, hangs loose, practical, efficient. The costume is gone. What remains is the mind, and the mind is still working. She's not weeping. She's not writing love poems to her dead Antony. She's writing lists, instructions, arrangements, the kind of things you write when you know exactly how many hours you have left, and you intend to use every single one of them. 10 days ago, Mark Antony died in this palace. Roman soldiers told him Cleopatra was already dead, a lie designed to break his will. It worked. He stabbed himself with his own sword. By the time they brought him to her, he was already bleeding out. She held him as he died on the marble floor. His blood is still there, staining the stone. She hasn't had it cleaned. She wants to remember what trusting Rome costs. Now Octavian, the man who will soon call himself Caesar Augustus, marches through her city. His terms are simple. Surrender Egypt's wealth. Surrender yourself. Come to Rome in chains. Accept your humiliation. Die when we decide. Cleopatra has spent 10 days appearing to negotiate, appearing to consider his offer, appearing defeated. She's not defeated, she's planning. To understand these final days, you need to understand who Cleopatra actually is, not the Hollywood seductress, not Shakespeare's tragic lover, the real woman. She speaks 9 languages: Egyptian, Greek, Hebrew, Aramaic, Arabic, Syrian, Ethiopian, Median, Parthian. She's the first Ptolemaic ruler in 3 centuries who bothered to learn the language of her own people. Her dynasty descended from one of Alexander the Great's generals, Greek conquerors who ruled Egypt as foreign occupiers. They never learned Egyptian, never worshipped in Egyptian temples, never cared about Egyptian culture. Cleopatra changes everything. She studies in the great library of Alexandria, mathematics, philosophy, astronomy, medicine. She reads the ancient texts, learns the old rituals, declares herself the reincarnation of Isis, the mother goddess of Egypt. And she studies poisons. For years, she's been testing various toxins on condemned prisoners, recording their effects, how quickly they work, how much pain they cause, which ones leave the body looking peaceful, which ones can be disguised as natural death. This isn't cruelty, this is preparation, because Cleopatra has always known this day might come. She's watched Rome devour kingdom after kingdom, watched what they do to captured queens. She will not be one of them. Her kingdom sits at the crossroads of 3 continents. Egypt controls the grain supply that feeds Rome's million citizens. Her treasury holds the accumulated wealth of 3 millennia. Her navy is the finest in the Mediterranean. Her capital, Alexandria, is the intellectual center of the world. The great library, the lighthouse, the museum, the greatest minds alive work here. Rome wants all of it. They've wanted it for generations. Julius Caesar came for the wealth and stayed for the woman. Mark Antony came for the woman and stayed for the power. Now Octavian comes for everything, and he wants Cleopatra to pay for seducing his enemies. She will pay, just not the way he imagines. Let's go back 18 days, to the moment everything changed. The Battle of Actium, September of 31 BC. Cleopatra and Mark Antony face Octavian's fleet in the waters off Greece. It should be an easy victory. They have more ships, more soldiers, more experience. But Antony's Roman soldiers don't trust their Egyptian queen. They believe the rumors Octavian has been spreading, that Cleopatra is a witch, a seductress who destroyed Mark Antony's Roman honor, that she'll betray them all. In the middle of the battle, Cleopatra's ships suddenly turn and flee, racing back to Egypt. Antony sees this and makes a choice that dooms him. He abandons his fleet, abandons his soldiers, follows Cleopatra home. His men surrender. The battle is over. Octavian controls the Mediterranean. But here's what most historians miss. Cleopatra's retreat wasn't panic. It was strategy. She knows they cannot win this battle. The betrayal has already happened before the first ship sailed. Antony's commanders have been negotiating with Octavian for weeks. The battle is theater, the outcome already decided. So Cleopatra saves what she can, her ships, her treasure, her children. She races back to Alexandria and begins the final preparation, not for war, for legacy. August 12, 30 BC. Octavian's army reaches Egypt. They march through the desert like a plague, 40,000 soldiers, the largest force ever sent against Egypt. Antony rides out to face them. One last battle, one last chance to die like a Roman general instead of a disgraced lover. His small force is slaughtered. He retreats to the palace, broken, defeated, ashamed. That's when Cleopatra sends the message, the lie that will kill him. She locks herself in her mausoleum, the tomb she's been building for years. She sends word to Antony that she has killed herself, that she died speaking his name, that Egypt's queen chose death over Roman chains. Why does she do this? Why destroy the last man who loved her? Because Antony is useless to her now, worse than useless, dangerous. If he's captured alive, Octavian will force him to testify against her, will use his words to justify her humiliation, will make him watch as they parade her through Rome. Cleopatra shows mercy. She gives him the Roman death he craves. The soldiers exit. He stabs himself, falls on his sword like a proper general. But he doesn't die quickly. His servants find him bleeding out on the palace floor. They carry him to the mausoleum. Cleopatra's servants lower ropes from the upper windows. They haul Antony up, his blood leaving a trail on the white stone walls. He dies in her arms, gasping, apologizing, begging her to trust Octavian's promises. She doesn't cry. She holds him until he stops breathing. Then she lets the servants take him away. She has work to do. For the next 10 days, Cleopatra plays the role Octavian expects. The grieving widow, the defeated queen. She negotiates. She pleads. She offers him Egypt's treasure if he lets her children live, if he lets her die with dignity in Egypt. Octavian sends his representatives. They tour her treasury, count her gold, inventory her grain stores. They think she's surrendering. She's not surrendering. She's learning their plans. Every representative who enters her palace, she questions, where is Octavian now? When does he plan to enter Alexandria? When does the ship to Rome depart? How many guards will accompany her? What route will they take? She pieces together the timeline. Octavian will enter the city in 3 days. He'll give her 1 week to mourn, to make peace with her fate. Then the ship sails. She'll be chained in the hold for the 3-week journey to Rome, arriving just in time for his triumph, the victory parade where he displays all his conquered prizes. She will be the centerpiece, the dangerous foreign queen, finally defeated. They'll drag her through streets while the crowd screams, while they throw rotting food, while they celebrate the end of Egypt's independence. Then the prison cell, the strangling cord, the unmarked grave. She knows all of this because she's studied Roman history. She knows what they did to Vercingetorix, the Gallic king, to Queen Zenobia of Palmyra, to every foreign ruler who dared challenge Rome. She will not give them the satisfaction. August 29th. Octavian enters Alexandria. The city can't resist. His soldiers pour through streets that witnessed Alexander the Great, that saw Julius Caesar walk as a conqueror. Now another Caesar claims his prize. Cleopatra sends him gifts: gold, pearls, messages of submission. She asks for one thing: let her perform the funeral rites for Antony before she surrenders. One day, one final act of devotion to the man she loved. Octavian agrees. How could he refuse? It makes her look weak, sentimental, exactly what Rome expects from a woman. That night, Cleopatra dines alone. Her servants bring the meal she requested: figs, fresh bread, wine, simple food, the kind she grew up eating before she became queen. And hidden in the basket of figs, her final solution. Now here's where history gets interesting. For 2,000 years, we believed a snake killed Cleopatra, an asp, a cobra, smuggled into her chamber in a basket of fruit, the romantic death, the Egyptian death, killed by the sacred serpent of the goddess Isis. But snakes are unpredictable. Their venom works slowly, painfully, causes convulsions, swelling, visible agony, and you need to be bitten in exactly the right place, with exactly the right amount of venom, to die quickly. Cleopatra studied poisons for years. She would never trust her death to an animal. Modern forensic analysis suggests something else, something she could control, probably a combination of hemlock, opium, and aconite, mixed in precise doses, fast-acting, relatively painless, leaves the body looking peaceful, as if she simply fell asleep. She drinks it with her wine. Her two most faithful servants, Eras and Charmian, drink their own doses. They will die with their queen. This is not forced. This is chosen. They've been with Cleopatra for 20 years. They know what Rome does to royal servants. August 30th. Roman soldiers break down the doors to Cleopatra's chamber. They find her on a golden couch, dressed in full royal regalia, the crown of Egypt on her head, the symbols of Isis arranged around her, dead, peaceful, beautiful. Eras lies dead at her feet. Charmian, still barely alive, is adjusting Cleopatra's crown, making sure her queen looks perfect. A Roman soldier shouts, "Is this well done, Charmian?" She looks at him with dying eyes. Her final words, "It is well done, and fitting for a princess descended of so many royal kings." Then she dies. Octavian is furious. She escaped him. She chose her own death, her own terms, her own legacy. He cannot parade a corpse through Rome, cannot humiliate a dead woman. She won. He buries her with honor, next to Mark Antony as she requested. He spares her children, mostly. Caesarion, her son with Julius Caesar, is quietly executed, too dangerous, a potential rival, but her 3 children with Antony survive, raised by Octavian's sister, given Roman names, absorbed into the empire. Egypt becomes a province of Rome. Its grain feeds Roman citizens for the next 400 years. Its gold fills Roman treasuries. Its monuments are stripped and shipped to Rome. The Library of Alexandria, the greatest collection of human knowledge ever assembled, slowly declines. No more royal patronage, no more funding. Within centuries, it will burn. Everything Cleopatra fought to preserve, lost. But her final act of defiance echoes through history. She refused to be Rome's trophy, refused to let them write her ending. In those final 10 days, she controlled the only thing she had left: her death, her legacy, the story future generations would tell. We remember Cleopatra not as Octavian wanted, not as the defeated foreign queen, not as the villain in Rome's triumph. We remember her as powerful, intelligent, dangerous, a woman who made Rome's greatest men bend to her will, who ruled the richest kingdom on earth, who chose death over submission. The snake story, probably Roman propaganda, a way to make her death seem exotic, foreign, mysterious, a way to turn her suicide into something Romans could understand, something that fit their image of Egypt as a land of strange magic and dangerous women. The truth is simpler and more frightening. Cleopatra studied, she planned, she prepared for years, and when the moment came, she executed her plan perfectly. No panic, no drama, no begging for mercy. She walked into death the same way she walked into every negotiation with Rome, fully in control, knowing exactly what she was doing, accepting the cost. That's the woman the Romans really feared, not the seductress of legend, the strategist, the queen who played the long game, the last pharaoh of Egypt who made sure that even in defeat, Rome would never forget her name. 3,000 years of Egyptian civilization ended in that palace chamber, but the woman who closed that chapter, she made sure the ending was hers alone.